We scheduled our interview with Portland City Commissioner Joanne Hardesty well before we knew that we'd be hosting Thursday night's debate with challenger Renee Gonzalez. You can watch that entire debate at coin.com. Commissioner Hardesty will be voting on the mayor's new homeless plan that we told you about at the top of this program, so we'll talk about that and other issues facing the city. As the Navy veteran, former state legislator, and former president of the Portland NAACP joins us as her bid for re-election comes down to the final days. She is the first black woman ever elected to the Portland City Council. Commissioner Joanne Hardesty, thank you for joining us on Eye on Northwest Politics.
Thank you so much for having me. Yes, Ken, it's only been, about 10 hours ago, right?
Yeah, as we take this program, that's right. We outlined the mayor's homeless proposal at the outset of this program. What do you think of it at this point, and will you vote for it?
Well, I'm going to try to make it better. Let me say that I think the mayor's big picture vision is a good one. But as always, the devil's in the details. And I think we can work and have more sense of urgency. The challenges I see right now is the plan requires us to plan for a year to come back with a plan. And that is not sufficient. What we really need to do is actually be innovative, creative, and use land we already own. The fact that we have so much government-owned land that is not being utilized at a time when our community is in crisis, I really think we can make this plan better. So that's what I want to do. I want to work with my colleagues on the council and work with the mayor to make sure that the plan we move forward is humane and actually realistic based on the resources that we have available to us today.
Yeah, those two issues there. Any idea where the sites might be or how it's going to be paid for?
Nothing. And that's, the mayor, when he presented it, said this is an aspirational plan. I would much rather sit down with the new governor, the new county chair, the metro president, and collectively as government say, how do we address this humanitarian crisis together? That's what I had hoped would happen right after the November election. But now that this plan's on the table, I'm going to take every opportunity I can to make it better and to make it more realistic. We are promising the moon, 20,000 housing units that people can afford to live in. That is a great long-term plan. But let's lock down the land we own today so that we have the ability to build 20,000 units that workers today can afford to live in.
We just talked to Multnomah County Commissioner and County Chair candidate Jessica Vega Peterson, and they'll have to buy into this plan in order to make it work. So are you confident that the city and Multnomah County can work together on this to make it happen?
Well, let me tell you, I have great relationships with Multnomah County, with our state delegation, with the next governor. And I know that all of us are really smart people, that if we all work cooperatively together, rather than pointing fingers, we can get a lot more accomplished. But what I know the biggest cost to housing is land. And we're not getting any more. We have an urban growth boundary. So we have an obligation to make sure Portlanders can live throughout the city. Your income should not determine your zip code.
Are you in favor of the Charter Commission changes that Portlanders will vote on this November?
Yes, I am. I'm so excited to both embrace this new vision of how we're governed in the city of Portland, and more importantly, making sure that we put it together right. I've been criticized about some of my proposals taking longer to implement than we thought, but I'd much rather take the time to do it right rather than rush the process. So I am really looking forward to embracing the community and this new form of government that we will actually roll in together. This is not the time for amateurs to be in control.
We talked about the Charter Commission. We've talked about it a lot and their proposal that they came up with. What do you think of what Mingus Mapps is proposing, your fellow city commissioner? His main problem seems to be with the fact that there are so many things on one ballot and the ranked choice voting in terms of voting for commissioners. What do you think?
Well, let me say I haven't read his plan other than what I've read in the paper. Commissioner Mapps has not engaged the city council around any alternative plan. I will say that I have absolute respect and appreciation for the 20 Charter Commission members that spent 2 years of their lives as volunteers and talking to thousands of Portlanders. And so I still believe it is disrespectful for an elected leader to go behind closed doors, develop a counter proposal before the first one that the community developers even voted on. And so I have no interest in engaging him in a conversation about some counter proposal.
You're the commissioner in charge of the Portland Fire Bureau, Portland Fire and Rescue, yet the firefighters union is endorsing your opponent, Renee Gonzalez.
Yes.
So is the Portland Police Association. So what's your assessment of why that's the case for a sitting city commissioner?
Let me tell you, my respect for Portland Fire and Rescue is just through the roof. The men and women there have done great work through crisis after crisis after crisis. I believe it is strictly a political move because I did not move forward a proposal to allow firefighters to get double overtime when they were forced to work overtime, actually for any overtime that they did. And the bottom line is, do they deserve it? Absolutely. Can the general fund support it? Absolutely not. Because MAPS moved forward a proposal to do that for 911 operators. That is going to start being a trend. And that is the most fiscally irresponsible thing an elected leader can do, is start picking and choosing which employees get special treatment. My job is to look out for the city and not just for the bureaus in my portfolio.
You've been associated with the defund the police movement in the wake of your criticisms in the past of police culture and tactics. But with shootings and other crimes in the city, don't we just need more police officers?
I didn't answer the second part of your question. We know the police union did not endorse me because they set me up, their last president set me up for false prosecution. And I have filed a lawsuit against the Portland Police Association. That is why they did not endorse me. So that's not a big surprise. Okay. Let me say today we have over 700 officers, 750 sworn officers. We have hired a lot of supports, what do they call them? PS3s, patrol support specialists. Mm-hmm. I don't know what they look like, but we're told, but they should be giving police the opportunity to solve crime. So we've hired a lot of civilians, and the police budget is bigger than it's ever been in the history of the Portland Police Bureau. So the question isn't, do we need more officers? First, we need to hire the 100 that have already been funded. The bigger question is, how are we building community safety? And if PS3s, unarmed Portland Police Bureau employees, are going to be the face of the new community policing, we don't see them on the street. Where are they? And so what we're doing is building a system. Today, until we hire the 100 funded positions, it's really hard to assess whether we need more. I mean, when I hear from media that open air drug dealing, they can watch it happening and the police can't, I don't know what to say. When I talk to the DA and I say, well, how many cases have you prosecuted of auto theft? Well, we get almost none. The DA can only prosecute what Portland Police give them. And so I think there's an accountability issue that we need to look at. But honestly, let's hire what we've funded already and see if that has an impact on reducing gun violence. What I know is that there are a lot of guns in this community, and we need to stop them from even getting in here. And so we need a bigger plan than just Portland Police Bureau.
Portland City Commissioner Joanne Hardesty, thank you for being with us again on Eye on Northwest Politics.
My pleasure. Have a great day. And please, people, 11 days, get that ballot in.
And you can see the full debate between Commissioner Hardesty and challenger Renee Gonzalez, as well as my one-on-one interview with Mr. Gonzalez. Just click on the Eye on Northwest Politics tab on coin.com.